walked everything to the T and dot all the I's. You're not ready for that meeting yet. It's not a, it's
the answer I always
situation.
give to that is just be natural, be yourself. When you're yourself, you have nothing to hide. Yes, you may not be perfect or as perfect as the perfect interviewer or investor or client to be, but the truth of the matter is that once you're sincere, you have a clear mind, and you have a passion for what you are selling, or you have a passion for that job, honestly, it will show also. But again, as I said, all these fidgeting and everything could still be a function of nervousness. Yeah. That's why it's always good to psych yourself, face your fear, identify what you are afraid of. Are you afraid that you may not get this deal? Or are you afraid that you are not prepared enough, therefore you're not really sure of what to say? By the time you identify your fear, then psych yourself. Tell yourself that you have to do this. Keep your eyes on the goal. And that is the only time you begin to exude positive body language. Again, I go back to the issue of hands, because a lot of people ask me, what do I do with my hands? Should I keep it together, which is okay, but please not for too long and not too stiff, to show that you're trying to hold your body and everything together. Make purposeful movement with it. You want to emphasize, you use it. And then avoid what we call accusing finger. I'm warning you, I've told you, you may not say it that way, but this, it's often offensive to many people. And then it could also be disrespectful. Why is he or she pointing at me? Some people can't take it.
What about this one? What about, I hear a lot of complaints about this one.
It's no, because this is defensive. You're blocking me off. You're not ready for this conversation.
But I'm ready.
I can't. But you see, the thing about body language is that we can easily package our words, yes, but you may not easily package your body or what your body is saying. Okay. So if you tell me that you're ready for this conversation and you are like this, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not sure. Why is he so cold? She's so cold. I mean, why is she not really open to me? This is openness, but this is like blocking me off. And unconsciously, I'll begin to analyze, maybe she doesn't even like me. Or maybe she's not willing to tell me what the problem is. So why am I wasting my time? I'd rather move on to something else. And another thing we do with our hands too, especially when you are addressing an audience, I often see people with their hands in their pockets. Hello. It's a sign of arrogance. And again, sometimes you evoke that sense of insecurity in your audience, because once your hand is not visible, I cannot be assured that I am safe. It's as good as sometimes you're having one of your hands behind. Some would think, oh, is she having a weapon there? What's she hiding? And in that fleeting moment, if you're saying something important, I've lost it, because I'm beginning to think about my own safety. Why is she hiding this hand? What's there?
Maybe it's dirty. She just I don't wash her hands.
All those shouldn't be, because the essence of interaction is for us to relate. Yeah. So there should be that openness. There should be that willingness to welcome me. And then the moment I don't feel it, I'll begin to think, okay, maybe you're not ready for this business.
Okay, let's talk about crossing legs. There are a lot of controversies about crossing legs. Some people have said it's a comfort zone. Some people have said it's if you cross it maybe for example, I'm sitting with or let me use you. If I cross my leg this way facing you, it means that I want this interaction. But if it's the other way around, it means I'm not interested. What is it about crossing legs?
There's so many conflicting points about crossing leg, for and against. Some believe that as a lady, when you sit, you should put your legs together, whichever way it's comfortable for you. And then some believe that when you cross your leg, the one they call A4, that is disrespectful because you're more or less like pointing your toes at the other person, and it doesn't say well of you. Some would say just naturally, just keep your leg wherever. And so again, that's where cultural communication comes in. In every environment where you operate, you need to understand the people and their way of thinking, and then begin to understand what it is any movement or posture or action means to them. It's just like when we talk about eye contact. We've been in a class where we're talking about eye contact, the fact that you should maintain eye contact. And then I had one of the students raise her hand and say, no way, you can't tell me that. In my culture, where I'm coming from, you don't look people in the eye. You just talk, especially when they are older than you. And then I began to explain that there's a difference between eye contact and eye contests. I'm not in a contest with you as in, let's see who will blink first. No. But it means that I need to look at you since you're talking to me, because what it indicates is that I am interested in what you are saying. I am not lying, because most we tell a lie, we have that tendency to look down or look away because I don't want you to meet my eyes and see the lies going on in there. So it's more comfortable for me to not even look at you at all. In fact, the woman told a story of a domestic worker she once kept. And each time she returns from work, the lady will open the door for her and hide behind the door while greeting. So she said she became uncomfortable because she said she couldn't even look her in the eye because she felt that by looking at her, she can easily tell what has transpired in the home in her absence. But she can't meet this girl's eyes. And she became uncomfortable. She had to send her packing. Because even when she calls her to have a face-to-face interaction, she keeps looking down. And from her own culture, probably you don't look another in the eye. But this lady had an issue with that. Yes. No, look at me. I need to understand what you are saying and be convinced that you're telling me the truth. The
hallmarks of being naive or shy. But let's talk about confidence because it's a huge thing here. I'm sure you know we had a boss sometime. Great broadcaster. And he conduct the interview on the edge of his seat like this. And he's constantly moving up and down. I mean, he was a master. But it was a master that sort of thing. You know, told those lines and it's huge confidence. I don't see anybody who does that perfectly like him, puts you on the edge and then gets into you that way. But tell me, when does it cross from being confident? No, Chukudi was very confident to overconfidence, and you miss it entirely.
It's relative here because it depends on who is judging him. Yes, because we know him very well. He, as you said, he's a master at his art, so he can afford to use his body anywhere he wanted, but purposefully, because that's what makes the difference. Purposeful movements. When Chukwudi wants to emphasize, he emphasizes, and you see it and feel it, and the words come with it as well. He gives you that impression that I'm in charge here. And there's no how, yes, we know that there's a level to which it could also distract the guests. But again, because he does it so confidently, and he knows what he is talking about, you now begin to overlook his mannerisms because it's a mannerism. But again, it also brings us to another broadcaster, the Richard Quest. But he's unique at it, and he does it confidently. So most times, such people are just being themselves. Because when you meet them off the stage, they're still like that. Exactly right. But the point is that they have a command of their language. They are in charge of what is going on. And so that overshadows whichever mannerism. And they're able to use it positively to their advantage. There are some people who probably by the time they move up and down, gesticulate, you get confused. And so you have to identify what works for you. Don't say, oh, because he moves, I need to move. You move and people wonder, what's wrong with him?
Okay, this is a bad one.
All right, thank you very much. We have learnt a great deal from Amaka Bobby-Umeano this morning on watching the television. Like, we want to describe everything they're talking to. So I was walking on the road.
And I saw two men.
And I saw two men. So thank you very much on Motivational Monday. Minding your body language. Amaka Bobby-Umeano is a communication coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Of course, there'll be more for us to learn from her as the days go by. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a break, and when we come back, we have more discussions for you. Please stay with us.
Now that we're going to learn the American Sign Language, I guess the body language will make a lot of difference now in how you use your hands. You know, I like to. The former U.S. President Barack Obama was a master communicator. I like the way he used to use his hands, and then he. But Donald Trump uses his hand like a carpenter, you know, and he goes like this.
He's always like this. I don't know why.
And yes, this is like okay, you know, but he's yeah.
But it's a body language that says a lot about. I think it's confidence. I think it's a confidence sign.
It's always good to see leaders, you know, use their hands and do the body language thing so you can interpret whether they're making political talk or just being sincere with what they have to say. We've had former presidents in this country who've been master communicators or no communicators at all. President Muhammadu Buhari, he gives very little out when his body language. He's always stern, you know, when he makes his...
general now. Once in general, you have that
but
stern.
Also former military head of state as well as a former president, general too. Olusegun Obasanjo, his hands, I mean, he was everywhere. He had one on his back like this. And he was going like this, and he would do. I mean, he was motion in action every time.
He is still motion in action.
You know, whenever he gave the yeah, true. Even when you speak with him nowadays, he still does the same thing. You know, you're always like a hand away from him wanting to slap your back or something to pass across his point. So, great discussion there on body language, on things we have to do and learn to do when we use our hands. And make excessive use of your hands.
This is not good. She has said this is not good. So we can't do like, you have to put your hands maybe like this or like this. Or something nice, you know.
We Africans, we like to use our hands in different ways. I've got a friend, anytime he's going to have discussions with me about certain things, he's just permanently drawing with his hands. He says, so I was watching the television the other day, and then he was looking in my eyes and he said, I'm watching you. And then he was driving the car like this. And then he began to roll and roll.
So Tolu was doing this on Friday. She was saying, and did you know that when the guy came, he actually, why are you doing all of this?
Yeah.
But it's
in this part of the
mannerism.
country, in this part of the country we're in, we like the Italian people who do, and the Spanish people who make a lot of hand movement. In the southwestern part, the Yoruba people who do a lot of hand movement. I was in the airport once, and I saw a group of people listening to an airport worker narrate a story. And they all, you know, sat around the guy, and the guy was going, you know, and I was going here, and he hit me, and then I went, and he threw himself to the ground. I'm like, wow.
I don't know, isn't it?
Yeah, he wanted to say he fell down, and he really fell down on the ground. I'm like, ah.
Oh my God.
I had a huge laugh. But you know, Yoruba people, oh my goodness. Watch Yoruba movies, a lot of action in motion, you know.
Well, that's what tells their stories. Yeah.
That's the only way you can tell the story. You know, the guy hit him and he gave him a slap on the face, like,
I think for Igbos, we do more of the oral. Like, for example, I want to tell you that I actually traveled a very long distance, and they'll say, in Igbo, they'll say, you just keep saying it for a long time as if the words they are using would depict how many kilometers they covered. I say, okay, now I get the picture. So it's mannerisms we need to actually unlearn or relearn or just totally, you know, drop. And it may be difficult because if you've grown with it for, instead in Igbo, you don't know how to use your left hand when you're old. So if you're already old and you've been doing those things, those wrong habits for a long time, it might be very difficult to change, but we can start today. We can actually start to unlearn those bad habits or mannerisms.
So true, so true. So keep the energy up. The most important thing is that you communicate. But basically communicating in the best ways so that everyone can understand what you mean. If you put the mic, remember the traditional rule, the video that we put out went viral some time back. He was asked what happened in his community, and he said, I was there and I heard a loud sound, and I had groom, and I had. So I was surprised, and I said, what was boom?
That was a blast.
That was a blast. Certain words in our vocabulary
Oh, Lord.
have to be expunged so that you can help people understand what you mean.
That's really experience.
Yeah,
You understood
but
what
when
he
you
said,
go-
didn't you?
Well, I sort of understood, but I was wondering, well, we'll think about that and ways we try to communicate to people in some other episode. I guess we can ask Amaka the best ways people can communicate things, not just in the way they hear it in their minds or their perception, but in real English or in a real conversational mode of communication. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have that discussion on World International Day for AIDS, against AIDS, remembering HIV/AIDS and the people who've gone, unfortunately, to this, and look at all the things and the factors that have made Nigeria's prevalence rate continue to be way up there. We'll take that quick break. When we come back, the discussions will continue. Please stay with us.